my name is Gimmeaflakeman on this channel, but I'm also known as Action Teacher on an Eikaiwa channel. And today I'm bringing you a question and answer that one of my subscribers has sent me. She apparently is a senior in high school, and she has chosen me as her guinea pig pet project. I'm not sure what subject this is and what class at her school, but I'm pretty sure she's a senior. And anyway, she sent me 20 questions. So 20 questions with Victor, as I think they're about teaching English in Japan, and I'm going to react to the questions as they come in, and the questions will be in the description so you can follow along if you like. Anyway, the first question is, what are the positives of working as a teacher in Japan? And number two are, what are the negatives? So I'll answer these two together. Really depends on the school. One of the positives, of course, is that you don't need much training to begin teaching. You can just come here if you have a college degree and you're American. If you're from another country, you might qualify for a holiday working visa, in which case you wouldn't need a college degree. If you're an American, though, you pretty much need it, and you pretty much need one. And most English Eikaiwa schools, by the way, an English school in Japan is, some of you might not even know, but they have like, they're just little schools, or some of them are chains, in which you go as an adult usually, often, though children can go too, and you pay a native English speaker to teach you English, right? We don't really have those. I guess maybe there's something like Yamaha music schools in America. I don't know exactly, but we don't really have this kind of, most of them are not college affiliated or high school affiliated. They're just private schools where you can go and pay to get English classes. Of course, there are other languages like Spanish. We teach Spanish as well, and I know a guy who teaches Spanish and French, but most of the schools here are English, because that's what the demand is. And the positives and negatives really depend on the school. The average salary will go anywhere from 200 to 300 or more thousand yen, which is anywhere from, I don't know, $2,000 or $3,000 a month, which is more than enough to live here. You can actually live and party and actually save a lot of money. And you can do private classes as well. So yeah, when it comes to the question, it really depends where you're working. If you have a master's, you can get a job at a university, and that pays a lot more. You also have more vacation time. Some universities will pay you, I think, even 3 or 4 months a year not to even work. I mean, it's just you get paid during their downtime. You know, when everyone's on vacation. Some schools, they send you to a different place all the time. They don't pay that well. Some of the cheaper schools will pay you as little, or by the hour, as little as 1,000 yen, I've heard, or 2,000 yen an hour. So it really all depends. But I'd say the average is maybe 240 these days, 240,000 yen, maybe 2,000 yen a month. But like I said, you can always supplement that by trying to find private students, and depending on how much money they have. And how many, depending, and that's something you and the private student would figure out for yourself. How much to charge, how long the classes are, what the material is. That would all depend on you. A lot of people I hear do that, like in coffee shops. You might go into a Denny's or a Starbucks and see a foreigner speaking to a Japanese person. In that case, it's probably a private class. But anyway, yeah. So what other positives are, you get to meet a lot of people. You're treated very nicely by the students with respect. They often want to take you out. Some schools have a no fraternizing rule, but it all depends. Number 3, what does a typical day look like? Well, for me, I own my own school, so for me, it depends on the day. Like today's Monday, and I don't start until the afternoon. And then I go all the way into the evening, so I don't start until 2:30 on Mondays. Once in a while, I'll get a request for a private class at 1 o'clock or 11:30, but today I don't start till actually 3 o'clock, and I go on till 9:30, right? And there are breaks in between. There's like an hour break and a 30-minute break and things like that. So on another day, what a big question. What does a typical day look like? Okay, I get up, I do some push-ups, maybe. I drink a big bottle of water, right? Don't you hate the sound of gulping on camera? Anyway, then I ride my bicycle to school. If it's raining, I might drive, because I take that with me. See that? That's Maggie. That's my dog. Maggie, say hello. Maggie, say hello. She's sleeping. That black-white thing, that's a dog. I put her in the bicycle basket, and I take her to school, because it's my school, and she's our mascot, so she comes with me. I prepare some classes. I've prepared so many classes that for me it's pretty much a piece of cake, you know. I get bored teaching the same old thing, so I'm always making something new. Like I'll teach if a new movie's coming out, I'll maybe teach the trailer, or if there's some song that's popular and I know the kids or whoever I'm teaching, I call them kids. And I don't know, most of them are adults actually. But if I know certain, for example, high school kid is interested in Taylor Swift, I'll go and learn a Taylor Swift song and teach her some of it. You know, this is a bonus in the class, right? Or if I know one of my students is interested in some particular topic, I will go out of my way to make a lesson to motivate them more to learn and to help them remember. Because I think my theory on teaching is pretty simple. If they're interested in the topic, they're going to remember better, right? Okay, so anyway, that's a typical day, I suppose. I guess I finish on a typical day anywhere from 7 p.m. to 9:30 p.m. and then I ride my bicycle home. It's 30 minutes. And on a day I have nothing else to do, I'll just stay home, come home, relax, maybe make a video, maybe go out with the wife or something like that. But there are some nights I also teach on another website called Nico Nico Doga, and so sometimes I will come home and maybe prepare a little something and then go online, and as I'm doing to you now, just teach a show on the internet. That's only like 30 minutes though, so that's a typical day. How did you get to where you are now? Wow. Well, every little decision you make alters the next decision. So where am I now? I suppose the question is asking me economically or my career decision. Well, I was a head teacher at a school for many years, and I was the first foreign teacher ever to become a head teacher there. So I was pretty pretty proud of that, I guess. And it was a pretty big school, and my classes were sold out for literally 6 months to 9 months ahead of time. There was waiting list for my classes, and the staff was like, Victor, you should open up your own school, because I would I guess my payment was like maybe $80 per. This is not counting the bonus. So let's just say it was $100 for an hour and a half of work, right? Teaching time, of course, not counting preparation time, but the class would have 15 students in it, so the class was making tons of money, right? What were they paying? 4 times. A class would bring in about 50,000 yen or so. And I would make maybe, I think it was 7.5 actually, 7,500 yen. So I thought, I could just make more money doing my own thing, not, keeping at least half of the money for myself. So I did that. So I opened up a school, I think 14 years ago now. This is the 14th year. We've been in operation. Action Language Academy. Check it out. And yeah, it's been a struggle up and down, but I like the work, so I keep doing it. And students come back. I've had some students who quit. They get tired of the same face. Who can get tired of this mug? But they get tired. They go on to another school. But then they come back because they realize that I know what I'm talking about. My English is better than the other guy's English. You know what I'm saying? I can. My classes are more interesting, and I'm better at explaining than other teachers. All they got on me is blonde hair and blue eyes. Let's see. What got you interested? I wanted to be a teacher when I was in university. I enjoyed being a student. I enjoyed English literature. I found I was good at it. It came naturally to me. I was a natural. So I decided, but I wanted to actually be a teacher, and I didn't know if I liked teaching. So I heard you could teach in Japan. So I thought, I'm going to go to Japan for 1 year and see if I even like teaching. And if I do, I'll come back to America and get a PhD in English literature and become a professor. That was my original plan. But I came to Japan and got stuck here because I met a girl, fell in love, and all that stuff. And I was young, dumb, full of how it works. You know the rhyme. And ended up staying another year. Also, and the other reason was hablo español, I speak Spanish, but I didn't know if I had any real natural ability for languages, so I wanted to test that out. So I thought I would come to Japan and just see if I had any language ability. So I thought, just learn Japanese, take a year, right? But it took 6 years before I could feel comfortable enough that I could, as they say in Spanish, Me puedo defender. I can defend myself in this language now. Let's see. Number 6. I heard in one of your videos that you have been in Japan for 20 years. What made you stay? I was doing really well. Like actually, I ended up breaking up with a girl that originally, or she broke up with me. Okay, all right. The only girl ever dumped me. Okay, no, we ended up breaking up, getting back together, breaking up, getting back together, breaking up, and I realized, not ended up, but at that point, I had invested so much time in becoming the head teacher, and I was making so much money that I thought, why would I leave? It was just a great life. I had a car, I had a motorcycle, I had a 3-bedroom apartment. I was doing well, so there was no reason for me to leave. And then, after that, I ended up marrying the woman who is now my present wife. And now we have a house. This is one of the rooms in the house that we own. So yeah, it looks like I'm going to be here for the long haul. Number 7. What was your original plan? My original plan was to come here and leave after a year. That was my original plan. Look how that turned out, right? But that's all right, Original plans, overrated. Number 8. What kind of things do you miss back in America? I miss incredibly great deals on large items of food, and some of the junk food that I never really ate when I was there, but since you can't get it here, I kind of miss that. I was lucky this summer. I bought I went home and I bought a bunch of Twinkies before they disappeared. Do they still have Twinkies anymore? They're gone, right? But I was able to get those. I miss buying 2 kilogram jars of peanut butter and things like that. Everything's so much cheaper in the States, so I miss the prices. I don't miss the crime, right? When I lived in New York City, I was always looking over my shoulder when I was walking around at night. And that definitely is not a problem here. It's wonderful that you can actually leave a computer, like I've done on 2 occasions. I left my laptop on the subway, and I just go and pick it up. And when it reaches the end of the line, it's someone who just hands it in. Say, someone left their laptop. Some idiot left their laptop. I've become so soft in that way. So what's the word? I've lost my edge when it comes to in New York City, man. I was always prowling around, looking around. Nobody, make sure I was, I was ready for any kind of attack. But here, it never happens, and so I don't miss that. But that wasn't really a question. What else do I miss? I miss I don't know. I guess one of the things I miss is variety of people. There's more. I like to say that we have the same amount of jerks in every country, but I think America has more variety of jerks, or more variety of interesting people. So yeah, a little more variety there. Anyway, let's see. What was your original plan? Oh yeah, an open-mindedness in America. Yeah, things a little bit more advanced when it comes to things like just acceptance in the world. I think Americans are more accepting of different kinds of people than Japanese are. Not to say that Japanese are closed-minded. They're just a little bit behind the times. And yeah. Anyway, let's see. How did you first got teaching? I came here and I had no job. I went down to the International Center, something called the Kokusai Center, the International Center, and I got a list of all the schools, and I just started cold calling them. And I called and called, and I got a couple interviews. I got one job, but I said, let me get back to you. And then I got another job offer. And when I called back the first place, they were like, oh, we already filled that position, sorry. So it went quickly. And then I ended up getting a job at a third school and taking that third one, which is a small little school, actually near where I live now, just by chance, but it's now gone out of business. But that was 23 years ago, about. So that's how I got first started. My first job, I actually, and it was a 1-year contract, and they were supposed to tell you 2 months before the end of the contract whether you would be re-signed or not, and they never did. And I was like, what's happening? I finally, after a month, a month is left of my contract, I still haven't been told, so I went to go, ask the boss, what's going on? He's like, oh, I've decided not to re-sign. It turns out the boss was looking to hire female gaijin because he had a thing for female gaijins, and he ended up hiring a friend of mine who told me immediately that he hit on her, but she lasted I think the whole contract, a year. Then he hired a third woman, who also was a foreigner, and he ended up marrying her and having kids. Yeah, so not to make excuses, I'm just remembering. I'm just recalling things. But yeah, I didn't get my first year contract re-signed. I think basically because he was looking for a woman. Honestly, because I did a good job. And then, but it was good. It was good. Like I said, plans didn't. That wasn't my plan was to resign, but they didn't want me. So I ended up getting a job at a much better school for a much higher salary. Yeah, so it was good, and I ended up becoming a head teacher of that school. Anyway, what kind of list? How did you? Number 10. If you weren't teaching in Japan, what would you do? I'd probably be mowing your lawn. No, just kidding. Well, who? That's an impossible question to answer. It's a hypothetical. Who knows? Maybe I would be the head of an international cyber terrorist group. Who knows? I have no idea. I was in publishing. I had a real job in publishing in New York City back in the day. My original plans was to become a professor. Maybe I would have stayed in publishing. Maybe not. Maybe I would have gone on to be a professor. Who knows? I can't answer that. Who knows? I could be dead, because if I'd stayed in America, you never know, right, with the crime. Number 11. Where do you see yourself in 10 years? I shall be ruling the internet. I don't know. Maybe my wife and I will have children by then. If it's, to be honest, the question of where will you see yourself in 10 years, it depends in what respect. What do you mean? I still see myself married and having a house. I see myself having children. The job thing is actually, I don't really define myself by this job. I like teaching, but I let go of the label a long time ago of you are your job. So although I teach, my identity is not tied to teacher. So, I see myself still alive, still in pretty decent shape, and hopefully much better off economically, right? And I hope I'm still growing as a human being and learning Japanese as I still study, even now. And yeah. So again, hypotheticals. What I would say is, I think we humans. Here's something interesting about Japanese and foreigners. We ask the hypothetical question quite often in English, and it's a great way to get to know each other. Like, what would you do? What would you rather do? A or B kind of question. Would you rather be invisible or fly? That kind of question. And of course, you know my answer. But I think we waste a lot of time on hypotheticals, arguing hypotheticals. And don't worry about hypotheticals. It's just pointless. Yeah. So I see myself alive and better, always better than the day before. So, what is your greatest achievement? My greatest achievement, I think, was, which is going to sound minor to you, was finding myself and being able to come to accept myself as just Victor and not as a label, because I used to think of myself as a collection of hats, so to speak. I used to be a bar owner and band manager and teacher and the boyfriend of that certain woman, or that I used to before I was married, of course. But I think my greatest achievement is I don't need those labels anymore, and they don't mean anything to me. So, yay! What is your greatest failure? I've never had a six-pack. No, I did when I was 19 or 20. No, what's my greatest failure? I don't know. I never thought about it, and I don't really linger. What's my greatest failure so far? I haven't successfully gotten my father to write a memoir on his life. Maybe that's it. I don't know. What's my greatest failure? I've never technically passed EQ on the Nihongo no Shiken. I've passed every level. I've passed every part of the test, but never at the same time. Is that a failure? I don't really care. I mean, so there's that. Okay, only on number 13. Number 14, I heard you can get a BA in anything and still teach in Japan. Is that true? Yes! Weren't you paying attention? I just answered that. You can get a BA in anything. Any kind of college degree from a 4-year college, you can get anything. Do you have any advice for me? I don't know. You know what? Here's advice for everyone. Don't ask me questions about giving you advice if I don't know who you are. I cannot give you any advice. And why would you take any advice from me? I don't know you. Look in your heart. The answer is there. Okay, advice. Here's advice. Here's general advice for all young people. Don't make decisions based on love. Because, I'm sorry to say, love is more transitory than we would like to hope. Than we wish it was. Is that correct English? Love doesn't. I don't want to say love doesn't last, but love fades a lot faster than a lot of us wish it would. How about that? So don't make decisions based on love. A lot of us do, you know. And I'm not saying don't think with your dick. Excuse me if this goes to your English teacher, your teacher in high school. But yeah, don't think with your libido. Don't think with your romantic heart. Make a plan. If you really have a goal, then don't let those things get in the way, right? Don't let other people's don't let your feelings for certain people become obstacles for you. Don't lose yourself in your emotions, because that's something I've been guilty of, losing yourself in your emotions, and you can't get something done because you've lost your own dreams and your own self in your desire to make somebody else happy. So yeah, make yourself happy. That's my advice. Do what you want to do for yourself. Number 16, who else can I talk to about what? I don't see these questions don't have. I'm assuming now they're all about trying to find an English teacher. They're trying to become an English teacher. Who else who else can I talk to? I don't know. There's a guy on YouTube named TKYO Sam who appeals to a lot of the young folk, right? He's kind of a blowhard, and you have to understand that half of where he's coming from is like English teaching is just a stepping stone to getting to Japan, and then he wants to get away from it, which is good, fine, but it doesn't have to be that way. I mean, there's nothing wrong with teaching English forever if that's what you want to do. So I think any job can be interesting if you put yourself into it. You're the one who kind of controls that, but you don't have to look at it like it's an undesirable job. I mean, any job, believe me, any job that you do long enough becomes, well, not as challenging as it used to be. So, but there are other things you can do in your life to keep your life challenging. You don't have to look for self-fulfillment in just the workplace, right? So yeah, I don't really have much else to say about that. Who else can I talk to? I don't know. Look around. There are a lot of people on YouTube. Do searches. What should I look for on my own? Everything. I get such ridiculous questions every single day. Look, Google everything. Don't ask me about visas or if you can do this or that. You know, just Google it, please. I mean, I will answer a lot of your questions because a lot of you are somehow, for some reason, can't use Google or are just lazy. Or maybe you're just looking to interact with me, which I guess I would say, okay, I accept that. But, you know, find out as much as you can by yourself. And then if you really get stuck, then ask somebody, okay? Any good companies that you would suggest? No. No, I wouldn't. There are a lot of companies out there that have bad reps and questionable reps, so do be careful. If you find a company that offers something, research them, look them up. Look for the job, then research the company. That's what I would do. Let's see, do they have a website? Yeah, so 18, no. What is your salary range? Are you talking about hiring or? Hiring, our minimum is $250, right? And it goes up to $300, $320. But for myself, well, it depends because I do other things. I got fingers in different pots, so it really depends. For a typical, like I said, for a typical English teacher, you can go anywhere. They used to have a law that a typical English teacher had to by law receive 250,000 yen minimum from the company. This was supposed to be kind of a safeguard to make sure that teacher would have enough money to live in Japan. But they did away with that law recently, so a lot of schools offer less now. And I've heard some schools offer as little as 180,000. And for a typical eikaiwa, I've never heard more than 320. I think I used to get 340 max back in the day when I worked for a different company. But if you work for colleges or other companies, so that can be different. That can change. If you are a real hustler, I knew this one girl from Australia who came here. just worked her ass off. She was blonde, beautiful, well-spoken, and a hard worker. She came here, I think for 6 months, and saved up enough money to go back and buy a house in Australia. I mean, she worked a lot. Like, she was pulling in a good $7,000 to $10,000 a month. But she had no, I mean, her goal was come to Japan and make money, come to Japan and make money. That was it. And there's some girls who come here and they make money other ways, like being hostesses at bars and stuff. So if you're an attractive female, that's also another option. Though I think technically you're not allowed to do that on your visa. But a lot of people do that on the side. So, but that's not really what the question was. As an English teacher, yeah, 180 to 320, I guess. Number 20. What other things can I research? Again, the question is too vague. I suppose you're thinking about coming to Japan, and I guess you would research cities. So if you're going to move to Tokyo, for example, you have to assume everything's going to be much more expensive. You're going to need at least $70,000 a month for rent, and it won't be that big, and depending on location again. But if you're lucky, you might find a place that's very convenient on a train line that's a little bit out of the city, but cheaper. So really depends. There's some great deals. Japan is, I will tell you this, a lot of people think Japan is a lot more expensive than it is. It isn't that expensive. It really isn't. If you look around and you know how to spend your money, right? There are a lot of things are much cheaper than they used to be. Back in the day, like 24 years ago or so, or 23 years ago, when I first came here anyway, like a pair of jeans, you couldn't find a pair of jeans for like less than $100, right? But now, they have Uniqlo, what do you say? I don't even know Uniqlo, I think you say in Japanese. I don't know. You know that store, it's everywhere now. Uniqlo in Japanese. They have every weekend on Saturday and Sunday they have deals, and you can buy a shirt or you can buy pants for 2,000 yen. Pretty decent. You can buy shirts for 2,000 yen. They have like major clothing stores that sell like really nice dress shirts for 900 yen on sale, which is like $10, and really good stuff. So you can buy ties for 100 yen at the Hyakuen store. I mean, everything's much more affordable now. So Japan isn't that expensive. Yeah. Anyway, those are the questions that is it Kirsten or Kristen has for me. Thank you for asking. Thanks for anyone who got this far. If you did get this far, then make some reference to Captain America, and then I'll know you got this far, right? Or Superman, whichever. Pick one. Who are you? Captain America or Superman? That's the question. Thanks for watching, and I will see you all very soon in another video.